Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's program. We're going to be discussing the FPDS.gov decommissioning, which is happening on February 24th, 2026 of this year. Today's program and the purpose of this training is to give you an overview of what's happening to FPDS.gov when it retires on February 24th, and how to do the easy search function in SAM.gov that will be available only in SAM.gov after February 24th. So today you're going to learn what's changing, what has already changed, and when the changes are happening. You're going to learn how to get a SAM.gov account if you don't already have one, how to do contract award searches in SAM.gov, and then how and where to get more help for SAM.gov contract award searching if you need it. So at this point, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Joythi. She's going to walk you through the changes that are coming and, in some senses, already there in SAM.gov with contract award searching. So, Joythi.
Ken, thank you very much. Hello, everyone. My name is Jyoti, and I'm one of the product owners on the IAE program at GSA. I'm sharing my screen. So everybody is familiar with the easy search module in FPDS, which looks in this fashion, and users don't have to log in to be able to run their queries. And it also offers a bunch of search parameters like this. And the users can select one or more parameters and begin their search. So the equivalent module in SAM.gov is the contract awards and the other transactions search. So the main difference between the FPDS easy search and the SAM.gov contract awards other transaction search is that one needs to log in. So if the user fails to log in and they begin to perform the search under contracting as the parent domain, there is this contract awards. And if we navigate to the right, we also have integrated the other transactions subdomain. So if users begin their search either on the contract awards or on other transactions without logging in, then they would see a message, sign in to access full features. So now I begin to sign in. I click on the agree button. And if at this point, if one doesn't have an account, then they can click on create an account and register themselves. And here is the contract award search for me. And it would prompt me to select the search criteria to begin my search. So by default, if I click on contract awards, or if I scroll to the right to click on other transactions, there won't be any data set that will be revealed to the user. And they are prompted with an information message like this. Select your search criteria and begin your search. So I'll go back to the contract awards subdomain under contracting. And before we implemented the contract awards and the other transactions search in SAM.gov, we have studied the usability metrics that we collected on the FPDS easy search in terms of the most popular search parameters and also the most popular sorting options. And the result is this. So we have picked the most popular search parameters that were used on the easy search domain, and we built them in the SAM.gov contract awards and the other transaction subdomains. So for example, users can perform the keyword search if they have a PED, or if they have a reason for modification or a competition value, basically a keyword or a phrase. If they have it handy, then they can begin using the simple search. Or they can make use of the search editor option, which actually allows them to enter SQL-like queries and begin their searches. And the more structured search parameters are the federal organizations, which offer the contracting and funding options, and which in turn offer the department, subtier, and the office levels of search. And awardee is the entity which offers these three parameters. And socioeconomic status offers a picker which has all these values. And users can choose one or many from this parameter. And product to service information parent parameter offers two parameters, NAICS, and then the product and service code. Place of performance offers the subparameters, and contract identification offers contract ID PID, and which allows a complete search or a partial search, and reason for modification, which offers the picker with all these values. And users can choose one or many values and begin their search. And reference ID with PID, it allows a complete search or a partial search. Solicitation ID, it allows a complete search or a partial search. And document type, it offers this parent-child relationship where all the 4 awards are categorized under the parent award, and all the 5 IDVs are categorized under the parent indefinite delivery vehicle. If, as a user, I would like to search by all the IDVs, I would just click on indefinite delivery vehicle. That fetches me all the respective IDVs. Or I can select just a simple purchase order. If my query entails only purchase orders, I can send only purchase order in the query, and I'll get the respective purchase orders and the search results. And I can remove my searches by clicking on the X button. And then for the dates, we have offered the date signed, IDV last date to order, and then the contract fiscal year. For the dollars, we have offered dollars obligated and ultimate contract value. And for competition, we have offered extend completed, which offers a picker with all these values. And we have implemented the parent-child hierarchy in this picker also, which has available for competition as a parent, under which we have this individual children that we can pick and choose. And not available for competition is another parent, which has this individual children as values to pick and choose from. And then type is set aside. We have built the picker in a way that it also exhibits the parent and child relationship. So under 8A small business as a parent, we are offering 8A completed and 8A sole source. Under Hub Zone, we are offering the Hub Zone set aside and the sole source. Under Native American as a parent, we are offering these values. And no set aside used is only one value, no set aside used. And under small business as a parent, we are offering all this children and veteran owned, women owned. And users can choose one parent or many parents, or they can choose individual value from each of these parents, and they run the queries. And then the contracting office opportunity notice, which has selected and not selected values. And under contracting officer's business size determination, we are offering other than small business and the small business. And there is one final search parameter that we are offering, which is the status, which offers the active records. These are final records in FPDS and are not closed out. And if we intend to get inactive or closed records, we can select this option, which actually gives us all those final records in FPDS that are closed out. And let me quickly walk you through that, the transaction subdomain. And it also offers the keyword search using simple search or the search editor. And every search parameter has been offered a placeholder text to serve as an example for the users. And then federal organizations, awardee, product or service information, place of performance, other transaction identification, the dates, dollars, competition, and the status, active, inactive, or closed. And I'm going back to the contract award subdomain. And at this point, I have a sample PID to show to you. So I would use the simple keyword search and simple search, exact phrase, and I will enter my PID and I'll begin my search. So it returned about 2,000 plus records. So this one happens to be a referenced IDV, a BPA, blanket purchase agreement, that has several mods under it, and that also has several orders, which are BPA calls under it. And so these are all the individual result cards. So this is for one BPA call with the respective PID. And on each of the result cards, we are showing modification number. If it is a base record, we are showing the modification number is 0 with the reason for modification as blank. And then we are showing the respective unique entity ID, the cage code, and the award or IDV type. In this example, it is a blanket purchase agreement call, which is the BPA call. And then the reference IDV PID as the particular value I have sent in my query, and the respective date sign, total dollars obligated, and the total contract value, and with the respective contracting or the awarding org information. And there is a little information icon here, and hovering over will prompt this window, which actually explains the result card to indicate that the dollar fields are the cumulative values for the entire contract family, award or IDV family, whereas the rest of the data comes from the latest and the greatest mod. So this is how each of the individual result cards would look like. And at this point, I will take you to the display page or the contract details page for this referenced IDV PID. So I would click on this one using the hyperlink that we have provided here. And similarly, if I would like to go to the respective contract detail page or the display page for each of the individual BPA calls, then I can make use of these hyperlinks. So there is this icon showing that the hyperlink is enabled, and the user can click on it and launch the respective display page. Similarly, on each of the result cards, a hyperlink is provided here, and a hyperlink is provided here. So I will click on this hyperlink to launch the BPA's display page or the details page. And a typical display page would look like this. And if you notice the endpoint here, SAM.gov, the workspace contract award view, and the PID that I provided as my search parameter, and it doesn't have a reference IDV PID, so it returns null, and agency ID equal to 4732, and modification number is 0, and contract type is award. So this is the endpoint that SAM.gov returns for each of the searches. So this is how a typical display page would look like, with all the entity information here, and the IDV type is BPA, which will not have a referenced IDV PID or the agency. So we are showing the value blank in parentheses, and the total obligations, total contract value, and the total estimated order value, and the respective dates and agency identifier, and whether it is closed or not closed. And this is the side navigation. Clicking on each of them would take us to the respective section. So modification details is this particular section, or I can click on awardee information to go to the respective awardee information section that actually captures all the entity-related information for us, along with the ultimate parent for that entity, or the SAM exception or the FAR exception, physical address, and state of incorporation and other details. And if an award or an IDV has a certain number of mods associated with it, then we are offering the modification summary, clicking on which would take the user to the respective modifications. The table indicates the respective modification number and the respective reason for modification, the respective action obligation, and the respective date signed. And if an IDV happens to have orders associated with it, then we are returning the related awards. So this is the related award section. Right below the modification summary, we are showing the related awards. And this section returns all the respective BPA calls for us. In this particular case, because I have queried for a BPA, it will return the respective BPA calls. So the respective contracting agency, the PID, the award or IDV type, which is a BPA call, and the original date signed, total action obligation. So these are the respective columns that we return in the related awards table. And users can click on these hyperlinks provided. For example, if I click on this particular modification number, PS0006, it will take me to the BPA and to this modification, PS0006. And I'm going back to the original display page. And we can use the going back on the browser to go to the pages before the current page. And so here I'm back to the contract award subdomain. Similarly, if I navigate to the right and click on the other transaction subdomain, I can perform similar search. For example, I would like to look for other transaction agreements, only other transaction agreements. So I can go to the doc type parameter and I can choose agreement. And the search will only return the other transaction agreements for us. And the respective endpoint will be populated here. This is a very big endpoint. So it will be populated pertinent to each of the queries, so user queries. And I wanted to highlight the differences between this particular result card and this one. So here, the latest and the greatest mod happens to be a base document, which is a modification 0. And where the respective reason for modification is blank in parentheses. Whereas this particular result card has a modification number populated and with the respective reason for modification value. And I will walk you through the search options that we have built. Here I'm trying to get the complete data set. And okay, it's taking a while for some reason. Okay, sorry about the lapse. There could have been some issue with the indexing process that we have encountered some latency. So I have limited my search to one federal organization, which is 4732 Federal Acquisition Service. And I was able to get these many records. And I wanted to walk you through the sort options that we have provided. So like I mentioned, we performed usability analysis on the FPDS easy search sort options. And we have come up with the most popular sort by options. So the defaulted option will be the updated date latest. And then we are offering the oldest updated date, the date signed latest and oldest, total dollars obligated highest and the lowest, and contracting subtier name, which is the agency, contracting agency, name A to Z, and the Z to A, and then the relevance. The relevance would bring us the contracts or the cars that have the highest total contract value, descending order of the total contract value. So let me walk you through the relevance, how it works. I'm clicking on relevance as my sort by option. So here it is. All those records that have the highest contract value, the total or the cumulative contract value, are returned in the descending order. And similarly, if I select the total dollars obligated lowest option as my sort by option, then this is how the data is returned. The total dollars obligated negative through 0 through some positive amounts. And I would like to walk you through the download option and the save options that are functional in SAM.gov. So similar to the FPDS easy search, we are offering two download options. One is a CSV, and it is capped at 5,000 records, and the PDF, which is capped at 3,000 records. And we can select an option, and we can enter a file name of our choice, and we can hit download to get the respective files. And then we are offering a save option. So if we perform a search, and then if we would like to save that query, especially when the searches involve multiple search parameters with different combinations of values. And if we would like the query to function as a recurring query, that's when this option comes handy. We can save that query by giving a search name and then save it. And we have offered similar functionality for the other transaction subdomain also. So for example, I'll just focus my search to the Department of Defense. And we have gotten about 4,000 plus records, and only active records that are not closed out. And again, hovering over this information icon will give us the description about the result card. And then we have these options to download into CSV and PDF. And also we have an option to save the search query. And these are the sort by options we are offering. The defaulted option is updated date latest. And then there is an oldest option, and date signed latest to the oldest, and total dollars obligated highest, lowest, and contracting subtier or the contracting agency, A to Z, Z to A, and then the relevance. And I wanted to walk you through the contracting as a parent domain. So the IE has had this vision of building acquisition 360 in SAM.gov to facilitate that. We have brought in the contract opportunities subdomain, contract awards, subcontract reports, and then the brand new subcontracting plan reports, which is nothing but the ESRS ISR and SSR reports, and then the other transactions into the parent domain, which is contracting. So if I go to the contracting as a parent domain, it prompts me to select the search criteria. And because this brings a very big data set, a monster data set, we are offering only the keyword search, federal organizations, and then the status. So users can select any of these options to begin their search. And if there is a match in any of the subdomains, then the respective data will be returned. And we also have documented some knowledge articles around the contracting as the parent domain, contract awards, and then the other transactions. And I'm taking you to our FPDS.gov and just type in the URL FPDS.gov, and this will be the landing page. And please scroll down to the help topics or FAQs. Scroll all the way down, and there is show more. Please click on that. And we are offering SAM search. And under SAM search, we are offering contracting as a parent. Expanding that will give us contract awards, other transactions, and subcontracting plan reports. So users can review the knowledge articles to understand the functionality more. I think, Ken, this addresses the new contract awards and other transactions functionality that were built in SAM.gov, which is an equivalent to the FPDS Easy Search.
Okay, great. Thank you, Jyoti. Really appreciate you walking us through that. That is going to conclude our program for the day, but I do want to share one last thing with you, and that's where and how to get some information. So as Jyoti mentioned, you can certainly get information about contract award searching at SAM.gov's help desk, the Federal Service Desk at FPDS.gov. If you want more information about the transition, the decommission of FPDS and transition into SAM.gov, please go to SAM.gov/FPDS for the latest information. Lots of information on that page. It'll show you what is happening and when it's happening. And overall, if you want to follow SAM.gov and the integrated award environment and the work that we're doing, we put out a lot of information on our blog platform, and our blog platform, which is called Interact, can be found at buy.gsa.gov. If you select the SAM.gov blogging platform there, you can actually sign up to receive notices from us when we share new information about SAM.gov or any of the IAE systems. So with that, we're going to conclude today's presentation. And we hope that this was beneficial for those of you searching to do contract searching awards. Thank you.